Yeah, it's been a long time. Hey, daughter of the king. Nice to see you this afternoon. Hey, mods, welcome in, everybody. Hey, Abigail. Sierra Terry is here. Robin Miners. Erica's with us again. I love that. HC from LBC. Hey, babe. Hey, Liz Tricks. Diana H. Wendy Brewer. Puka Vista. Jennifer Ogle. Brian Bolin. Finally got my car out from under the drift. That's awful. I hope I actually left today. I drove for the first time. I hope that things are starting to get a little better. Things melted for me today. Hey, Liz R, Mimi, DNV, West Coast Fancy Nancy. Hey, Joanne Hawley, Lacey Silver, Linda Perales is here. Miss Tatey, welcome back from Sweden. Hey, Panda. Let's see, Sarah Blackshear, Jennifer Minton. Hey, Abigail. Hey, Marty Jewell, Angie Moe. Thank you. Hey, Stella. Oh my God, I love that I'm seeing you again. Hey, Kathy Burkhart, Anna Banana. Thank you. Thanks, Wendy. Hey, Starlina. Hey, Karen Dahl. Stacy Switchblade Toms. Your guys' names are incredible. I love that so much. Hey, Honey Lou. I was talking about you yesterday because I was cooking over the weekend and I wore your apron that you made for me. Hey, Catherine B, Ewa, Jeannie Hansen. Thank you, Joanne Holly. Hey, Kat. Why don't you come sit up here? I don't see why not. Jeez, girl. Good Lord, girl. Holy, Gertie almost just fell off the chair. Purple RN. The weather in my backyard's drunk in Florida. Hey, Pat Jonas, Marie Marion. Thank you, Debbie Zito. Hey, Christy Anise. It's so nice when you stop over here. I like to see you, Christy. Another storm is on the way. Okay, well, we'll have to weather it. Katie did it. Rhonda McNeil. Thank you, babe. Hey, Bohemian Luciferian Witch. Hey, Buffy. Not without my sister. Welcome in. Thank you, Kiki. Yeah, I mean, Kiki, it really warmed up today. My cats, for the first time, went out and they were out for hours. It was like 40 degrees here today, and the sun pretty much melted everything, which was really, really nice. Hey, Mindy Doolin. Thank you, Stacy Toms. How are we? What's going on? How is everyone? I feel like I'm seeing some people I haven't seen in a while in here, and I absolutely love that. Wanda Parks, love you in a tam. What is a tam? That sounds British or Australian or something. Hey, Kim's Whims, thank you. Kat, I'm really glad you're here. Kat, I haven't seen Anita card yet. That, oh, thank you, Wanda. That, Kat, by the way, how's your dog? Oh, you're waiting for your dog to see the vet. Okay, good. That's good news. If she's still eating and drinking by now, I would think she's okay. Sucks to walk the dogs because you're all frozen, Angie Mo. I get it. Hey, Heather Rhodes, love you too. I'm dealing with being sick and going back to work tomorrow. Bohemian Luciferian Witch, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that. I hate being sick. That's one of the worst things. I've been lucky this season. I haven't really been sick much. Me too, Brian Bolin. I bought some Mod Mafia merch from Nora, but we have some amazing stuff that Helena designed. And all of the merch that you guys buy goes to the mods. All the money that's made on the merch is going to the mods, kind of like Nora. That was she inspired me. Does my ring have a coin on it? It does. I got this a long time ago in Kansas City, back when I was married to my third husband. Hey, Donna Cooper. So I don't know. I'm thank you, Armine. I don't know. Have you or anyone noticed censorship on TikTok since the change to Larry Ellison and company? Never heard of that. I don't have TikTok, but people are saying they noticed changes in the views. I don't know, Christy Anise. Honestly, I couldn't answer that. Thank you, Linda Perales. I didn't know that about you. Yeah, school is back on tomorrow. Huxley was off school again today. Huxley and my mom and I went to lunch together today, which was quite nice. But so, hey, Gemini girl has been sick for 9 days. That's awful. Guys, just like healing thoughts, wellness vibes, prayers to cats, dog, everybody who's sick, everybody who's had a loss recently. Feel like there's a lot of that. Hey, Gracefulness 5. I think there's a lot of that going on right now, and I'm sorry to everyone who's hurting right now, who's trying to heal right now. Hey, Aspire to Inspire. Hey, Marissa Martin. I just feel like there's a lot of just a lot of that going on, and I feel it. I hear it from you guys. New care company come to my house, hopefully take me places. Good for you, Wendy. I hope you're feeling better. I hope you're doing a little bit better. Thank you, Donna Cooper. You seem like you're in your head. Hey, Caroline in Canada. Hey, Trixie. You seem like you're in your head, wishing you peace. I am. I am in my head, and I think you guys know how I am. I love how Liz Trix, who said she won't be able to make it for a little bit this week, she's got some things that are keeping her from coming in, just so you guys know. Good vibes to your nephew. He will have surgery on his heart tomorrow, Miss Tati. Of course, we would love to send good vibes and thoughts, wishes, prayers, all those things, of course, for anyone who needs it. Yep, Pat Jonas. Hey, Rachel Sandy. So Liz Trix once said to all of us in a Zoom call, and I haven't ever forgot it. She said, Reese, your mind processes. I mean, obviously I'm a verbal processor, but it was a Scientologist would say that really indicated to me, like Scientologists say that a lot. Oh, Liz is here. Hey, Liz. Hey, Viggy Cat. Scientologists will say that. Does that indicate to you? That indicates. Like if someone says like what Liz said to me, I'd go, that indicates. Yeah, that indicates. I don't think you guys talk like that in the outside world. Did you see the Scientologist in the UK? Yeah. And good for Apostate Alex. I'm really impressed by him. I've always been kind of curious about Apostate Alex, and I think he's doing good things. So anyway, that's just a thing. They use weird words like that. Like, does that indicate? Like, that indicates what Debbie Zito just said. That just means, yes, it's true for me. The other thing you would say is, like Debbie saying, does that resonate? That's exactly it. Does that resonate? What a Scientologist wouldn't say it, though. They would say, does that indicate? Or you might say, like if you were in session with an auditor, you might say, your auditor might go, do you want to take that up? Like something that read on a list. And you might go, no, that doesn't indicate to me. So like sometimes you have a choice and the auditor will go, was that a false read? Does that indicate? And you'd go, no. I forgot to put mascara on. Crazy. Hey, Anna Pikachu Hunter. Do you feel a change from last year energy shift? I'm starting to feel possible for first time in decade. Yes. Christy and East, we talk about that a lot here. I feel a huge shift myself. Hey, Christine. So yes, very much. That's a yes from me. I can't speak for the rest of the audience here, but yes. Another thing a Scientologist would say is, what's your knowingness about it? What does your knowingness tell you? Which is just, again, I know that's not an outside world word, but that's a word that it's a daily word in Scientology. Like whatever go with your knowingness. Hey, Sophia, go with your knowingness on that. Whatever your knowingness, whatever indicates, that's what people would say in Scientology. So yes, Debbie Zito, you are spot on. Your knowingness seems to get a read on that. Self-awareness. Yeah. Knowingness, understanding, not really actually, Pat Jonas. Knowingness would be more like your intuition. So what does your knowingness tell you about that? I remember one time, oh my God, I was so embarrassed. I had a boss who was a doctor. I worked for doctors quite a bit. And Doug showed up at my office for an eye exam. He came to get one from my boss. And this is such a weird story, and I don't know why I'm telling it, but oh my God, I was so embarrassed because my boss didn't know I was a Scientologist. And even if he didn't know, dropping weird words like that, no one in the real world is going to be like, is this person a Scientologist? They're just going to be like, what does that word mean? Right. So the boss, after he did the exam, lost his car keys and he was leaving to go get something for lunch, my boss. And he was like, Reese, did you see? And I was like, I don't know. I said, I'm not sure. And I was trying to help him look. And Doug goes, close your eyes. He says this to my boss, the doctor. And I'm so embarrassed. He goes, close your eyes. And the guy's like, okay. And Doug goes, now, good. He's like, what's your knowingness on the keys? What is your knowingness? So what does that tell you? Like knowingness means your awareness, your intuition, like just know. Just be the bigger being, the OT operating Thetan that you are, and just know. Don't guess, just know. What's your knowingness? Or like if I'm in, yeah, it's weird. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, but I kind of know why I'm telling you guys this. That was used on me a lot, just as a Scientologist, as a child, growing up into adulthood. They would, if I was on the fence about something, Scientologists would be like, okay, let's knock this off and just go with your knowingness. Or what does LRH say about it? Yeah, it's just weird. It's a weird way of putting it, but there's so many. Hey, Janet Hunter, there's so many damn Scientological like ways of thoughts, words for me. And now that I have no one that was in Scientology, like I can't, it's a dead language for me and I can't use it. But oftentimes I will say that in my own head. I'll be like, what's your knowingness on that? Like what does that indicate? Like I still use those words for me. I just don't say them out loud to you guys. Hey, Tiffany. Hey, Julie. Yes, Julie. Thank you, J9 Stag 23. That's so nice. Thank you. So speaking of Scientology and what Debbie Zito said, Liz said once in a Zoom call, hey, Renee B, thank you. Nice to see you, babe. Liz said in a Zoom call once, we all know I verbally like have to get through things verbally. It's very hard for me to hold things in. It's very difficult for me to, that's why this channel is successful, because I come on here and I talk about real life issues. Do I dream in Scientology language? I don't think so. But I also don't dream very often. I always learn something new here about Scientology, Karen. Yeah, that's why a lot of you know, hey, Gina, a lot of you know things, but I always kind of explain, even if you've heard it a million times, because I never know if there's a newer person who doesn't know things. So I don't want to go past something that you wouldn't understand. And this is why I never talked about Scientology to non-Scientologists, hardly ever when I was a Scientologist, for these reasons. I was like, this is embarrassing. Like, they're going to pick this apart. They're going to question me. They're going to be like, so do you guys believe in God, or what is this Xenu thing? So I just stopped talking about it at a very young age. But now, of course, we want to talk about it, right? Yeah, Pat. So Liz said, Reese, your mind is like dropping a marble into one of those like roundabout things. So like she was like, your mind like does this as you think. For me, that's how I process thoughts. It takes me days and it's good. I can't hold things in. It's really bad for me to hold things in. I have a hard time doing it. And so she's like, you do this, you swirl around, you dissect, you overthink, you just really think it through. And then it finally goes, thump, right? And you go, oh, like I get it. And that indicated to me, that absolutely indicated to me. Yeah, like when a penny drops. Yes. Hey, Rain. Yeah. Hey, Vicki Andrews, marble into a funnel. And so naturally, I'm not surprised at all, and you shouldn't be either. After yesterday's stream, we talked at length about the Zoom call, which there was so many funny parts to the Zoom call. Question, curious, Reese, do you think if Ron Hubbard was a woman, the powers would have allowed to develop into the cult? No, not during that kind of time. No. I know there's some female cult leaders. There was one that was here local in Tennessee that I think died in like a plane crash or something, but the cult still goes on. So no, I think men are often more taken seriously. And especially he came in on the scene around 1950. Yeah, Stacey Toms. LRH came on the scene around 1950 when he started. Thanks, Rain. When he started to, it's very see-through. This blouse, see, I had to put a tank underneath it. And it's like super, just really, it's like all lace. And I liked that you can't see it as well on screen, but like the actual buttons are like little diamonds. I got it in the Anthropologie sale. You got a pinball brain. I understand how being born into Scientology mandates your life, but what is the appeal to an adult? Good question, Wanda. I'm not sure I can answer it. The only thing I've seen as a Scientologist who was born in, thanks, Christine. What a nice thing to say. When like we had a guy come in, thanks, Christy East. We had a guy come in to Scientology. He brought his mom. Hey, Tennessee girl. He brought his mom in, who ended up being my twin, doing some training. And she was way older. And that's a whole other story. But he brought his mom in, his son, and his wife. All of these people obviously were adults. The son was like 14 at the time. He ended up joining staff and training to be an auditor. But this guy was loaded. So the only thing I can think of coming into Scientology as an adult, the benefit to coming into it as an adult is if you're super, super, super wealthy, because Scientology mentally rewards the hell out of people who are wealthy. Like they are put on pedestals, they are celebrated. Hey, Meredith Lynn, they are super, super almost to the point of embarrassment. Like Scientology is really, really all about status, like who you know. You have no idea how in Scientology, hey, Holly, there you are. People would go, oh yeah, no, I know her. She's OT8. Like, do you know this OT8? You know this OT8? Or, oh yeah, no, my dad is OT8. Yeah, they are, Janet. So it's all about like who you know, how highly trained you are, and how much money you've given. And so the only thing I can say to answer that is like this particular gentleman who came in and brought his family in, he donated more. I think he gave 3 million to the Kansas City org. And that was a huge deal. And I went to almost every single event for years on weekends, fundraising events. Who gets tortured? And this guy, like, it was gross how much they really, really worshipped this man. It's very obvious in Scientology who's wealthy because they just like, oh my God, like they put you on such a pedestal and it's gross. But if you are a dick swinger and you are all about your ego and you love your ass kissed, then that is the place for you if you're willing to give your money over. Does that make sense? If you're poor and you don't make it very far, then they kind of shame you a little bit. Like you're not as important. They don't pay as much attention to you. But if you, hey, Anita, there you are. If you love attention like that and your wealth equals importance, like that's in the outside world too. There's tons of wealthy people. We've all seen them who treat others as if they're less than because of their bank account number, which I always thought that was odd. It's also like in society, we see it, but not everybody with money is that way. But a lot of people who have money, it's like all of a sudden they're better than you and they make that kind of obvious and known. I know plenty of people with money and you would have no idea they have money. There's also that saying, money talks, wealth whispers. Kestrel, there you are. Hey, Angel. And I've always thought that people who are truly wealthy, they do not want to show their wealth. They don't drive their assets. You wouldn't know. I see a lot of farmers around here that you wouldn't know, but I see a lot of dick swingers with like the flashy stuff. Hey, Andy, the people with the handbag status, the labels, the cars, all that shit is usually people in incredible amounts of debt. I find to be true in life. Like if you have to show off that you have money and that you're better than the rest of us, typically you're just broke as shit, but you just have a lot of credit card debt. That's how I see it. Hey, Cliff Ann. Thank you for explaining the terminology every time. Even though I may have heard it before, sometimes I forget what they mean. I would never explain Scientology without explaining the terminology because it truly is a different language. And I'm not going to say things that, hey, Linda, I'm not going to say anything that you wouldn't understand. So like you wouldn't know, again, like saying, does that indicate to you? I don't know that you'd put that together, even though that's a word in the English word. It's just not used. There's so many English, there's so many words that either were made up, but also there's English words that are Scientology words that mean something totally different. That's confusing for me even. But back to what I was saying, Scientology is hugely about status, hugely about just who you know, how high you are on the bridge, and the bridge is the training and the processing side of things. So if you're OT, that automatically means dollar signs. Now, I know a lot of OT8s who are, I know one in particular in Kansas City who told me from his mouth, I don't want to give away too many details. Hey, Nicole Hazelmiller. Hey, Mandy told me that, hey, Olga, that he is millions of dollars in credit card debt. He and his wife are on, she's OT8. He, last I knew, he was on 7, but he said, I will never pay off this debt while I'm alive. Like he just constant credit cards, constant. So either way, though, being higher up in Scientology equals money somehow, right? Like they have the ability to uh, pay for things, whether it's on credit or they just actually. I remember that guy in particular's wife was OT8, but she was also like, she had like her own group of like, hey Anne, hey Barbara Waite. She had her own group of yeah, Rachel. She had her own group of like fancy ladies. She was all about status herself in life. Like she always had like the nice Louis Vuitton bag. She really wanted you to know she had money. And just the way she talked and just very like kind of her mannerisms, just very like, I only hang out with rich people. Like, excuse me, I'm better than you. She always kind of acted like that. I knew her my whole Scientology life. So she didn't really treat me that way. She loved Huxley. She got, hey, original. And she got Huxley all kinds of gifts when he was little. And this is crazy. This is just a side thing. I don't know why I'm saying it. Her mom died. And this woman was already a little bit older. I would say she was in her 60s, and her mother died. And her mother was never in Scientology, had nothing to do with it, but left her a huge amount of money. Like, I mean, to me, it's a huge amount of money. It's probably not that much now that I think about it in her world. She was very upset. Her mother left her like 175 grand. To me, that's a F ton of money. That's also relative, I guess, to people who drop that on a yacht per se. I don't know. I get excited when I get to have an appetizer somewhere. So I feel kind of cool that I have an air fryer. Like, I don't know. It's all relative. But anyway, she had to give it to the church. She didn't even give it to her husband to pay his debt off. The church came for it the second she got that payout. And it was wild. She signed all of her mother's inheritance over. And she told me about this, and she told me how upset she was. She was like, I haven't worked through that. I'm very upset that I gave over my mother's hardworking, her whole life, money. But that is the thing with inheritances in Scientology. Can a Scientologist go bankrupt? Millions of credit card debt? Is there a rule about it? No. So what they do, Christy and East, that I was aware of, they always tried to get me to do this. And I did go into some credit card debt. Just I wasn't willing to go in that deep. But they have registrars. It's called the registrar, and they are in charge of like getting you to pay for things. That's their post, that's their job. And so they're in charge of getting you to pay for things at the org. That's their whole what they do. And they're very good at it. They're very skilled. Her mother was not a Scientologist. No. And so what they do is it's like this, hey, Kelly, it's like this game they play. So you get all these credit cards, you rack up the debt, you max them out. And then in 6 months, they switch, they will call you. Like they watch all this on the internet. They'll call you and go, hey, we got a better deal. You can switch all of that debt over to this credit card that you're pre-approved for because they have your social, they have your bank account numbers. They're doing it for you all the time. So they'll call and go, we just ran it. You're approved. Yeah, roll over to zero interest cards. And so that's what Doug did forever. That's what they tried to get me to do. They'd be like, hey, so we want you to put 10 grand on this. And then on January 19th of 2028, it's going to roll over. We got your bank account. They're running your credit. They do all of that for you. So yeah, me too, Barbara Waite. So they always, it's like clockwork. They are paying attention to what cards, what you can switch it over to. So that's how they do it. They just flush it into a new card. The same thing happened with my first husband, who was born into Scientology. Well, he wasn't born in. He was. I don't want anyone to say Reese is a liar. I think he was brought into Scientology at 4 or 5. I mean, to me, that's pretty much born in. But same thing. His parents, Doug and Brenda. We all know who that is. My in-laws. Doug and Brenda's parents were not Scientologists. Nothing to do with it, and actually were very anti-Scientology. And they all had a whole family. Like Brenda had 2 siblings. None of them were Scientologists. None of them supported it. And the parents were very into education. Hey, Lumen. And I don't know if her dad was like a professor somewhere, but they were extremely wanted their grandkids and everybody to get a college education. So they left when they died, they left money to all the grandkids for school. And it was like 9 grand. It was a lot of money. And I didn't even know about it. Like wasn't sure about it until they got the money, right? But it was made out to Michael and Sam, which are Doug and Brenda's kids. Brenda got off work. She got approval to leave post. I don't mean she got off for the day. I mean, she got off and showed up at my house. Hey, Marshall Laird, I've got Huxley. He's a baby. Michael was at work. And she shows up at my house in the afternoon. I was like, what are you doing here? Like, you should be on post. And she goes, I got approval to come by real quick. And where I lived, my house was 30 minutes from the org. It wasn't down the street. And I said, okay, cool. I was like, have a seat. And she was like, oh no, I can't stay. Of course, she could never get off work, right? And she's like, so my parents left this money to Michael. Hey, Natalie. And she was like, and you're about to get it. And I need you to sign over the check so that we can put it on Michael's account at the org so he can do like another Purif. And I said, and this is for college? Like your parents left this for him to do schooling? And she was like, yeah, Sam already just signed his check over. She was really in a hurry. And she was like, get the product. I could tell. I mean, you guys wouldn't know this, but I knew already, like they sent her and they gave her a time limit. Like it is 1:00. You need to be back by 2:30 with that check signed over. Like get the product, Brenda, get it and get it back here. So she's in my living room and she's like, so I need you to sign it over. She goes, Sam just signed his check over. Sam was in the Sea Org. He was like 25 maybe. And he signed it over. And I'm going to take a drink. And she was talking so fast and telling me all of this because I knew she had to go back to work. So she was almost like smoke and mirrors me. Like she was almost kind of like trying to like misdirect so that like I would go, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, where's the pen? Let me sign it over. And I said, absolutely not. And she was angry. And she was like, so you don't like, she of course did the reverse, just made me the bad person. So she goes, so you don't, she was like, you don't want to see Michael go clear? She was like, you're not interested in his religious, spiritual freedom? She was like, hey, Crafty Carrie. She was like, let me get this right. So you're not interested in him, the betterment of him spiritually? And I was like, I guess not. No, I said, because he should have a choice. And I said, Michael really would probably love to go to college. So like, I think we should give him the opportunity. And she was like, just sign the check. And I was like, I'm not signing shit. Get out of my house. And we were really close. Brenda, she was my closest person in Scientology. And she was like, he needs another Purif. I've done 5. I might have done 6 Purifs in my Scientology career. So I was like, we're not focused on another Purif because the Purifs are 5 grand. They're expensive. And so she was like trying to push this on me that he needs a Purif. And I was like, you can fuck your life. First of all, I didn't feel morally right about that. Coming to his wife after his grandparents died and left money to him, not me, to go to school. And you want me to surreptitiously like sign that over and just sneak that away? And see, that's why that was all planned. That was by design. She would do that all the time. I was Michael's puppet for her. She would like all the time. She'd be like, hey, Tony P. They would come to Reg. Reg means to either get someone to pay for something, or you could also do it by going, let's pretend you have money on account for a Purif. As a Reg, I'm going to come over to your house and go, hey, you have money on account. I'm regging you to come do it. So I'm also trying to get you in for services, right? So she would also come reg me a lot. And she'd be like, you're the only person that can do this. I need you to get Michael to do this. He won't listen to me as his mother. I need you to do it as his wife. And every time I was like, I'm not doing that. I was way more protective of him. I was not willing. I was like, you're asking me to throw him to the wolves. He hates Scientology. Like, I didn't say that to her, but I knew all of his secrets. I knew all of his stories, and I knew that he had raging anxiety about even going to the org. And I made him go with me a lot to events, but I never signed off on him doing services. Now he did do services, but it was very much because I was like, "You're sure you want to do this?" And then he would quit almost immediately. He never followed through with shit. But that check was wild. But that's just an example. Like the lady whose mother died, she signed over Tony P. I'm not sure how Michael's doing. Michael's biggest passion in life, I'm guessing he's not doing well because his biggest passion in life, and he takes this seriously, he always wanted to be a movie director. He could spout off every movie of every time period, who won, what year it won Best Picture, who directed it, who won Best Supporting Actress. Michael is a factoid machine when it comes to that. It's very impressive. And he loves, no, Cliffan, I did not sign the check over. He loves directors and Hollywood and movies and all that stuff. He loves everything about it. He's probably very, very sad, if I had to guess, about the Rob Reiner thing, even though it happened like, I don't know, a couple months ago. I'm guessing that he takes that stuff it's almost like, I just realized something in real time. I think because of our upbringing in Scientology, like me, I am very things like stuff I cling on to, for me, like memories of things. I attach a memory to everything. My things, my animals, like all of those things, I think because I was alone most of my childhood. And even if my dad was there, he wasn't there, right? He didn't want me around. My stuff meant the world to me. And if I had to guess, Michael is probably the same. He got lost. His mother left him when he was 12 for training in Florida. And his dad was at work every day, and his brother was on staff. So he was home alone every day. He didn't go to school. He watched movies all the time. So he attaches to that kind of stuff. You could talk to him about anything in any time period. He can quote any movie, and I'm pretty damn good at it myself. I can't do the time. I can't do the best actress and it won Best Picture in 1998. I can't do all that, but I can quote movies pretty well. I have pretty good memory. Hey Audra, since no one pays it, do you have tons of collection debt and delinquency in your name? What do you mean? Hey, Mad Drop Bear, welcome in. Welcome back. Audra, what do you mean since no one pays it? Like for me, I probably don't. I probably have money on account. But like when I quit staff, I had a lot of debt. It's called a freeloader's debt. And they hold that against you. Like I owed like 250 grand when I left staff, but I was also a minor. I was 16. So I don't know what you mean. Thank you, Christine. Yeah, no way. She left without getting the product. Brenda did that day. She was pissed and she was mad because I know what was going to happen to her when she went back. They were going to rip her ass apart for not getting the check. Like they wanted that check. Sam signed his over, right? I'm the same way. I attach memories and can't throw things away. Now, I'm not a hoarder though, Audra. I can get rid of things. Real good, Mad Drop Bear. Thanks for asking. I can get rid of things. I don't like attaching to things too much, like people who have too many things. You would say that. Ask anyone that, say, Bless Lori, that's seen my shoe collection or clothing. You'd be like, whoa, you have way too much. But I still don't like the idea of like hoarding. I think it's okay to donate. I like to get rid of things and make room for things. And I also like the idea, it always feels good mentally to get rid of that weight and know that it went to someone who really enjoys it. But if I had to guess, Michael's probably, he would get very, very upset about people in Hollywood who would pass and things like that. It was like he would connect with that. He knew everything about, I don't know if he's still his favorite director. He's an older man and he's short. I can't think of his name. And I can't believe I can't think of his name. He directed Goodfellas. His mom was always in parts in those movies. He directed The Irishman, Hugo, Scorsese. He also really liked Wes Anderson, as far as I know. But then something happened, I think, politically with Wes Anderson. He didn't like him as much. But Michael is really, really fun to talk to about if you're like a movie buff, oh my holy lord, he's your guy. He will go. He's a quiet guy and he's very reserved and he does not socialize very much. But if you get him going on movies, he won't stop. He won't stop, which I was always impressed by. It's something. I mean, I always thought that I thought you should go to school for that. Like he'd be great at it. He's so interested in the filming. I used to watch movies with him and he'd be like, look at the angle of the filming of that. Look how they did that with the camera. Like shit, I would have never noticed. I'm like, oh, well, now that you say it, yeah, I see that. But like he was so good at that kind of a thing. I'm very organized and clean, but I have things, cards, gifts. Oh, me too. Audra, I hang on to stuff like that, especially that has an emotional attachment. You would, Rain. Hey, squirrel girl. So I bring this all up. I didn't mean to bring all that up. Hey, Lean. Because back to what I was saying at the beginning of this, the Zoom call. I don't know if these ladies are still in here. Kat may be with the vet now with her dog, which we hope that goes well. And I don't know if Anita Card is still in here. Robin W may or may not be here. There were some people. Cliff Ann, that is such a nice thing to say. You sound like you were a great wife. I really enjoy being a wife. I do. I like the role. Hey, Jen. Wow. I think I really, really, really enjoy taking care of people. And thank you for saying that. It's validating. So I think so too, Pat, but I'm not sure if Robin W's here. You should see my bed, perfectly sectioned plastic bins full of memories. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Me too. I have all that stuff. All the cards Huxley ever made for me, drew for me, gave me. I have all those things. I hang on to all of that stuff. My mom made all these crazy, like, knitted door things that you can hang on your door in like the 70s and 80s. And she was going to donate them. And I was like, what, are you nuts? Give them to me. And then she was like, well, let's ask your sister if she wants them. My sister's the opposite. She was like, I don't want that shit. My sister isn't sentimental. I am deeply. If my mom is like, your grandmother touched this, I'm like, don't get rid of it. Give it to me. My mom told me today that she has some of my grandma's neckties. My grandma loved scarves. And I was like, do not get rid of those. Give them to me, Mom. Give them to me. I love it. Hey, Swedish Fish Andrea. Wow, it's good to see you, babe. So back to those ladies, Anita Card's here. I'm not going to share anything those ladies shared in the Zoom, right? All of the stuff in the Zoom is private. I especially wouldn't, I share my own stuff. I'm not going to share somebody else's story. But they shared some pretty deep, heavy stuff. And my mind has been doing this, thinking about all of that for days. Because like I said yesterday, I wish I would have been a therapist. Because when someone tells me something that was really upsetting for them as a child. Hey, Sherry LeBrun. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. I'm all about vintage and like passed down items. And I don't have a lot of that. Like, I don't even have any hardly childhood pictures because my dad threw all that shit away. So I cling to those memories. Can I get a lady's perspective? I'm a big lover of my bed, but what I need is the women's have. But what is the need women's have with covering the bed and pillows and cushions? They don't all do that, Mad Drop Bear. I'm not particularly a huge fan of like covering the whole. I've seen women do it. I'm not a big fan of that because you're just throwing that shit on the ground at night. And then what's on the ground? Spiders, dude. I can't. So like even like stuff touching the floor that touches the bed. No, I can't have that. So I don't necessarily do that. I do think I have an addiction to rugs and pillows, but I put pillows on my couch. Like I love a decorative pillow. When I was living in Kansas City, I don't do it anymore. When I was a wife and all fancy in that house, I would switch out our pillows like for different seasons. I had the space for all that. I don't give a shit about that life anymore, so I don't do it. But I don't like a ton of pillows on my bed. I just really like what's there, what we actually use. And I say we because it's me and my 5 animals. Floor cooties. Yeah, Anne, I can't do it. Yeah, and my dogs and my cats are on the bed. So it's hard for me to have a ton of pillows. But honestly, I don't like that look anyway on a bed. I agree with Holly Day. Pillows make the room. I love rugs. I always wanted to be an interior decorator too. Like Audra, what a sweet thing to say, Poo Poo. I bet that jackass misses you. I bet he doesn't, honestly. I wondered about that the other day. I wonder about my dad if he ever thinks of me. And I'm like, does Jeff ever think of me either? Like, I wonder if Jeff ever is like, I miss that. The only thing I would think Jeff misses are probably the gross things that like are not love, like lust. Like he probably misses the gross gesture men coming up to him and being like, hey, nice piece of ass your wife is there, man. Like probably like the more objectifying a woman type of business is what he misses. He probably misses, right, getting laid like that. I'm guessing, Audra. I don't think he misses. I think it takes a very. I don't think a lot of men do it, but I think there are men out there that actually appreciate the woman they have. Yeah, and that actually like would reflect on I love her heart, right? I love these little quirks that only I know about. Like the real romantic men out there that would, yeah, I'm sure Jeff misses how I took care of him. I took so good care of Jeff. I was like almost probably too motherly with him, but I was like trying to help him with his diet. I cleaned all the time. I was like, I can't even get into like how well that man had it. Um, we can't handle it if you miss a day of streaming. Hey, Lady O. I was very nurturing. Yeah. So I think there are men out there though that like feel deeper and passionate about like if you were to miss, like I think that Jeff never is like, I didn't realize what I had and I really miss her. No, I don't think that at all. I think he's like, I miss Friday night date nights with her and then coming home and getting in the sack together. Like the on the surface shit that any human being can do. Anybody can have sex. Anybody can give it to him good, right? Like that's not what I'm looking for. I'm way deeper than that. Like I wish that people would think about me and go, I really, really loved her heart. I really miss that about her. And I think that I chase that. Hey, power lies to paralyze. I think I've been chasing that my whole life with, I wish that my father had treated me that way. I wish that my father, so that's where the Zoom call went. We were talking about people's upbringings and just where the upbringing fell flat and the parent let, of course, the child down, right? There could have been physical abuse, sexual abuse, abandonment, neglect, all of those things, right? And how we are let down and how we have to go forward with life. And we were talking about that in the Zoom call. And I think to this day, I can't tell you how many times I've watched a movie, how many times I've seen it out in life, and I get a little choked up and I go, I wish I had had a dad like that. Like I'll see, in a movie, some dad that's like, come on, Cookie, let's go, blah, 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 or whatever. And they're like really kind and almost like just cute, flirty with their daughters. And they're not in a creepy way. But I just mean like, I don't know how else to put it, but like I've seen this in movies and I'm like, God, I wish I would have had that. I wish I would have had that. I love attention like that. I would have loved to have been kind of doted on like a dad does that with their kids. And I miss that. And I think I've been chasing that my whole life. And I feel a little weepy about it. Like I've been trying to kind of articulate it days before the Zoom call had occurred. I've been, for whatever reason, very focused on the power of men in our lives as women and fathers and relationships, the man that you choose to be with romantically, the correlation there, who we pick to be with romantically. Does that have anything to do with that? Hey, Tammy. Prayers definitely for your husband, Tammy, and I'm very sorry to hear that. And I'm sorry to hear your father passed away, J9. So you know me, once I get kind of on a thought about something, what Liz said, my mind starts doing this. And it goes, hey, who, what, where now? And it just keeps going and going until I feel like I've found what I'm looking for, and I haven't found what I'm looking for. And so I often think like the male role in our lives, I have been chasing that, right? Like just the idea. I completely understand what you mean. Always been jealous of women and girls who were daddy's little girls. Hey, Pepper Jelly, absolutely, Julie, me too. It's I would say it's a huge empty spot for me, right? Janet says not engaging romantically because we chose when and how much we allow men and their energy into our lives. Well, sometimes we choose, and sometimes love can be kind of blind, and you can choose the wrong man, right? The wrong relationship, somebody who's not a good listener or who doesn't speak your language. You know what I mean by that, or who just doesn't understand you, or hey, Kim is blue. Like one of my biggest things with Jeff was I can't think of a time I made him laugh. And I am my nature, I love to make people laugh. I grew up listening to George Carlin. I integrate humor into almost everything. And when I would crack some kind of a joke that was kind of perfect and funny and everybody else would laugh, or I would even laugh, like I'd be like, damn, that was good. That was a zinger. He would not only not laugh, he would shame me and be like, you have such a sick sense of humor. No one would laugh at that. That's not funny. It's too bad that you are that way. Like he would reject it, but also just kind of like, he would make me feel like that's weird because I've been kind of making people laugh my whole life. And he's like, yeah, they're faking it. You're not funny. Like it was just like he would turn shit around on me. Right. So, where is our notes from therapy about hold on, the black box? Remember it? Sometimes I wish therapy was 2 hours long. It's like you can't get it all in. Here it is. So I made these notes with my therapist from a session not that long ago. And he said, and it's kind of choppy because I wrote it so fast. We were talking, and sometimes I'm in therapy and I'm like, whoa, 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 hold that thought. And I'll like start thinking more onto it, right? And I start writing. I really should just have a pen and paper, but honestly, no, I kind of like being able to refer to it here. Uh, so, black box. There was a black box that your dad put the love into, and I have been searching forever trying to find out what's in it. But ultimately, my dad is the only one who knows what's in it. I can fabricate that love elsewhere, but his love is what I keep searching for. And so that really, well, indicated to me that was a Scientological word I just used, but it's very true for me that I thought that was really genius. There's this black box. And I thought it was interesting that he said that. I did not come up with that. My therapist did. And then when I thought about it, the black box is a real thing. When there's a plane crash, right? They go looking for the black box because apparently that like records everything that went wrong before the crash. Sometimes you never find it. You'll never know what happened. You'll never know why that went down, why the plane went down, right? And so I thought that was, I'm sure that was intentional and he did that purposefully, but I thought that was interesting. Yeah, Stacy Toms. I'll say it again. There's a black box that your dad has put all the love into. And I have been searching forever trying to find out what's in it. But ultimately, your dad is the only one who knows what's in it, right? I can fabricate that love elsewhere, but his love is what I keep searching for. And that really meant something to me. And I was my dad is always it's ridiculous because hey Dawn, I have not had a relationship with my dad, like a real relationship. I saw him again a couple of times in my 20s, but I haven't actually known my father since I was 16. I'm 41. So it's odd to me that I still keep him around, if that makes sense. Um yeah, um, I still wonder about him, and his wife hates his children, Tony P. My dad does not. He marries women who hate his kids. This is not the first one. I still wonder about my dad, and I still think about him. He kind of weighs on me, and that also he didn't for years. Like in my 30s, I kind of stopped, and now I think about him more, and I think it's because he's aging. And I have gotten word from a couple different sources now that my father is declining mentally, that he has Alzheimer's. I can't confirm that entirely, right? I don't know that to be entirely true, but I have heard now from a couple of different people. And then one of them ran into my dad and his wife and saw him, and the guy was like, "Gene, how are you?" And my dad was like, didn't know who he was, and this was a family friend that's known my dad his whole life. And my dad looked confused, and his wife was there and said to the guy, he has Alzheimer's. So it's not clicking with who you are. And that makes me very sad. Makes me very, very sad. I've dealt with a lot of seniors who start to slip and have Alzheimer's or show just signs of dementia, just memory loss. And so the Zoom call helped, but I got something that's this is hard for me, but I got this out last night after my stream, and I took it to bed with me, and I thought I kind of want to feel something. I want to feel something from my dad. And I thought, kind of how I am, classic me, I'm very sentimental and attached to things. Well, I don't really have any things that my father gave me. I have pictures, and they're hard to look at. I don't like to look at him. And I just thought, I think I need to do this. I think I need to do this right now. And I climbed into bed with this, and I was kind of holding on to it. And I didn't want to crack it open. And I did for just a minute. And then I had to close it. And I just set it next to my bed, and I didn't want to. But my dad had 3 kids. He had 3 daughters. And I'm the only one, the youngest. And I'm the only one who he seemed to like me a lot when I was little. He was noticeably meaner to my older sisters. Hey, Linda Garden Lady. Hey, Baby Steps. I'm here with you, girl, listening as I do other things. Thank you for being here, Baby Steps. I love you. And thank you for your super chat. That was very nice. Yeah, Holly, it is. I like that analogy too. But for whatever reason, it was pretty obvious that he was not as big of a fan. I don't think he wanted kids. He was not a nice man. My father yelled a lot. But when I was little, like a baby, I don't remember, of course, but I have this. He liked me a lot. I don't know. I don't know why his personality shifted so hard from the words he wrote versus how he treated me. But I don't know why my father liked me so much as a small child, but he really seemed to. And he wrote a baby book until I was 16. He wrote in a baby book, and a lot of you know this. And when I disappointed him at 16, I think I was 17. I was doing drugs in Omaha when I saw him again, and we were going to a family funeral. And this baby book means a lot to me because I have really vivid memories of when I was little. I would jump into his lap at his desk at night. And I mean little, like my mom was still there. It was before the age of 6, but I have little short snippets of memories grabbing the book. And I remember like diving into my dad's lap on his big leather office chair. And I was like, write in my book, write in my book. And he would go, okay, I will. And sometimes he called me Dolly, and it was so cute. And he would go, okay, Dolly, but you have to go to bed. I won't do it till you go to bed. And I would go, okay. And I would get so excited about this book. It was so like, it's, I think because it was validation, right? And I got very little validation from my dad. And so he would do that and he would give me that attention. And I think also I thought, what is he writing? Like, I never knew. He didn't read it to me. And I'm pretty sure I probably couldn't read at that time. I think the excitement of him writing about me and not knowing what he was saying was enough for me to be like, it was such a treat for me. I remember doing this, grabbing the book and going, write in my book, write in my book. And he'd go, okay, Dolly, but you got to go to bed. And it's incredible because then my memories after that are of him screaming at me in the kitchen when I was 4, like yelling at me, calling me names in Scientology lingo, just like disappointed in me. So he really kind of flipped. Um, he does every once in a while speak to my oldest sister. She's a half sister. We have different mother, same dad. And I think she told me recently, I just talked to her actually. She told me recently, I think the reason dad still talks to me, she said, is because I never really did Scientology. And the reason he doesn't talk to you and Brianna is because you guys were such raging disappointments, right? Brianna went into the Sea Org. I went on staff. We both went into the cadet org with him. We actually performed in Scientology and we let him down, right? Like we failed at it to him. Sam did not. She really kind of got out unscathed. She didn't do Scientology. She became a drug addict very early on, and he didn't push it on her because Sam is 12 years older than me. So she was born in 70, I think 1970. No, 72. I'm sorry. Her birthday is March of 72. And so he was just getting into Scientology around then. I think my dad got into Scientology in like 1969, 1970. So he was not like he was when I was born in 84, right? So I'm just explaining that. But this baby book is always such a treasure to me because I have such warm memories of it. And then it all went downhill. He became really, really mean and aggressive. And I think the reason for that is I really believe that he had this like idea that the meaner, because a lot of Scientologists are this way, personality wise, the meaner you are, thank you for being here, Rachel, the more intention and power you have behind it. It's called impinging. LRH calls it impingement. So the more you're like, knock it off, get it done, no HENR, start, all that shit. It's like they think they're getting more done by being that. The heavier handed you are, the more fear you put into the person, which lights a fire, right? That's my impression as to why my father got meaner and meaner. I don't know if that's true. That's just how I kind of look back on it. But when I was 17, he came to me. I got to see him. We were going to a funeral. How does his wife stay with him? She's pretty damn mean herself. She's a very mean woman. And I saw him and I was super timid. I was super, super timid to see my dad. I hadn't seen him. Thank you, Christy Anise. I'm just really happy to see you here. I had not seen him since he left me at the Church of Scientology in Kansas City. He was so disappointed in me and my behavior and all that happened. And so I was terrified to see him. And he pulls up and he's in this red truck. And I was so thinking, like, I had this like hope that he was going to forgive and forget kind of thing. Like maybe he was over it. A year had passed. I thought time has maybe hopefully healed this. Maybe, I am his daughter. I think that he will, say that he's happy to see me and maybe we can like smooth things out, mend fences here. But I was terrified. And I walked up to the window of his truck. He didn't get out. And we were waiting for my sister to show up, Brianna, so that we could follow him to Kansas City. I was going to ride with Brianna. And I walked up to the window and I was shaking. I was so scared to see I was always afraid of my dad anyway. He's very intimidating man. He's very powerful man. He's a very wealthy man. And he's one of those guys that's like, I'm in charge. He's just, he, right? Like he owns the room. He's very powerful when he's around you. He makes himself very powerful, at least to me. And I walk up to this truck and I went, "Hey, Dad." And I was like so scared. And I was hoping he was going to be like, "Hey, you," or just like smile back. And he rolled his window down halfway. He rolled it like halfway, the halfway point. He didn't even come all the way down, right? And he goes over to the passenger seat and he goes like this. And he picks up the baby book and he shoves it through this halfway point of this window. And it broke my heart. And I knew what he was going to say something. He said, "I'm not ever going to need this again." And he handed it to me. And that was so final, right? Like to say, "I'm not going to need this again." I knew where we were going. I knew what that meant. And I was like, okay. And I took it from him. It's a huge book. My parents found this at a garage sale when I was born. It's this like giant handmade. It says "Days Gone By." And he has written in it, obviously not to the end, but as you can see, he wrote a lot. He wrote a lot. And I took it to bed with me last night. It's huge. I mean, this thing like takes up, it's really big. And I thought, "Hey, Riley's human. Thank you." I was reading and I thought, I was thinking about the ladies in that Zoom call and how they were sad that they didn't get the closure. And I was like, they were telling us these horrible, I could see the pain in their eyes. I could see them crying. And I was trying to come up with solutions for these ladies. And I was like, "Have you tried this? Like maybe this." I was just trying to come up with something on the spot because I felt so sad looking at them. And it dawned on me. I thought, I'm not looking really for closure because I'm never going to get it. And I know that. And so I don't feel regret of like, I wish he would have apologized to me or something like my dad. I don't wish for that. I know that will never happen. It never really even occurred to me. The door is closed and I know that. And at this point, it's even more closed because if it's true that he does have Alzheimer's, I have no idea what stage, right? Like, I don't know any of those things. Hey, Jen. And so, and I've accepted that I'm not going to get it. So I thought, this has been weighing on me the last few days and I'm not going to get it. And I keep wondering about him and he's kind of just there. My dad is always just kind of there for me. You know, he's just, I feel him. I think about him way more than I should. And I'm curious about him and I have memories of him and I swirl through those. And I just have things that are never going to get answered. But I thought, you know what? I choose to believe, and this is stupid. And it's not, you know, you can say that's also called denial, Reese, right? But I haven't had the best luck with men even in my life. And I choose to believe that that probably has a lot to do with my father. And I choose to also, I don't choose this, I know this, that I have let a lot of men walk on me, blame me, shame me, cross my boundaries. I will say no, and they'll say too fucking bad, call me names, tear me down. I've had a lot of men, I've allowed that. That's on me, actually, not them. Unfortunately, I can't blame them for it. I've allowed it. And I'm looking for not closure, but I'm looking for strength. I'm looking to how can I solidify and like take back my power from all of that and not ever allow that kind of behavior in my life again. How can I do it? Yeah, Stacy, I talked to my sister yesterday, actually, Sam. And the only thing I really have to cling to when it comes to my dad, besides my memories, is this book. And this book is very much a journal more for him. Like, he talks about me in it, but it's more of a daily journal about his life and his life in Scientology. Big time, big time. He talks about Scientology almost in every page of this book, like nearly every page. He even says here how I was named after a Scientologist. So I thought I got to Me Too, Kim is Blue. I got to just a couple of things I was reading last night, and then of course I got sad and I closed the book and I went to bed. I just thought, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. But it's actually quite healing, because if I want to know at a point where my dad felt about me, right? Like, this is like the other day when I was saying there's YouTubers out there and people who call me a liar because at one point on a stream I said I was close to my sister, and then on Tori's stream I said I wasn't close to my sister, which apparently makes me an incredibly inconsistent liar. I said it years ago, and then I said it a couple weeks ago, and so since those two don't match up, I'm a liar. Well, you could say that about my dad. The start of this book says, "Well, my pretty little lady," right? He also was close to me at one point, and now he hates my guts. Does that make him a liar, or did time pass and things happen and life occurred, right? So I'm choosing to know my father in this version of him. And I thought that was kind of a breakthrough. I thought, read his words on some of this, read his words, because I'm choosing to know this version of my dad, right? And like, I was looking at this part where he talks about how I was born, and he shames my sister in this book a lot. Like, he pins me against my sister a lot. Scientology does that. They do not want anyone bonding. So he definitely pins us against each other. But he talks a lot about, it's very Scientological. He talks a lot about like, there's a part where like I fall off my bike. And he's like, "Man, not your sister." He's like, "Her and her asthma and all of her problems and falling off bikes, she can't handle it. But not you, kid." He's like, "You're tough. You've already gone through 3 bikes." And he's like, "You skin up your knees, you come home bleeding." And he's like, "You just confront it and you're just moving through life in an uptone way." Like, it's really gross how he describes that. Like, how I'm just this like tough kid and my sister is this like sickly kid. Hey, K-Fig, it's really fucked up and it's sad, and it makes me very sad for my sister. There's nothing I can do about that. But he talks here about, and I was just going to read some of this to you guys, because I found this, I was trying to think of a solution for our friends in the Zoom call, and I still haven't found one. But this is why I say I wish I had been a therapist, because through other people's pain, as sad as that is, and stories of trauma, stories of abuse, I heal from that. It helps me, right? Whenever someone tells me something about them, I'm able to adopt it and go, there's some qualities to that story that resonate with my life. And then I get inspired on how they deal with it. And then I start to do what Liz Trick said, right? My mind starts doing this. And so it's been doing that since the Zoom call. The Zoom call was 17 and a half hours long. So it gave me tons of content for my own mind, not for YouTube, but for me, right? To swirl around and think about how I've been processing things. The prominent male figures that I have been through in my life, and why all those things had to occur to get me to where I am now, right? The controlling individuals that I've met who really try to control me or abuse me in some way. Now, I hate saying that, because even that coming out of my mouth made me feel cringe, because I have a hard time still about the victim stories, like being a victim. Like, I can't say that. Nothing against anyone who's a victim, but Scientology hardcore wires us that there are no victims. Like, you pull everything in, you're responsible for what happens to you. So it's like, ugh, I get kind of grossed out even saying like, abuses that occurred to me because I feel like pump the brakes. No, 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 no. I could never be like, I was a victim. I can't do that. It just doesn't sit well with me. It's nothing against anybody. I'm not comparing to anybody. Hey, Jewel, like if that makes sense. I don't want anyone to take offense to that. It's my own sick, twisted training in Scientology, but I haven't fully let it go. So it's hard for me to even say things like the abuses I suffered. Like it feels weird to say that. It just doesn't feel right. But it is also a fact, right? Like, so it is also a fact that those things happened. And what else are we going to call it? It is abuse, right? It's absolutely abuse, taking advantage of someone and being harmful to them. Very wonderful person who did not deserve the treatment. Thank you, West Coast Fancy Nancy. Hey, Eric. So, like, he talks about me being born, and I was just going to read the bottom actually. He says, You were born. This is very Scientological. Hey, Molly, go heavier. Original Anne. He says, You were born 40 minutes later. So he's telling my birth story, which I didn't think you guys wanted to hear. I mean, it's not very long, but he says how it all happened. My mom's water broke. They were watching a movie, Eddie and the Cruisers. Diane figured out we better stay up and plan on going to the hospital. Your time had come. We were watching a movie called Eddie and the Cruisers at about 2:00 in the morning. Diane's water broke. I had already taken Brianna to Grandma Nina's to spend the night. So off we went to the hospital. I dropped her mother off at the door where she was put in a wheelchair and rolled to the elevator and taken up to the delivery area. I parked the car, walked back to the elevator, up to the delivery area. Like all really cool stuff that a dad would write about. And that humanizes him for me. It makes him human. Hey, Joan Marie, I really appreciate you coming back. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all the new people who like actually gave me a chance. And I realized that humanizing is quite the word, but it means a lot to me because I think, hey, Chops World, I think a lot of the men that I have been with in my life were really not good people. Like their character wasn't good. Just the addiction to like weird sex behavior, like in my last marriage, right? That was very twisted. Some of the abuses that I have been through with men, I think they choose women like us who they know are going to get their boundaries crossed, and I'm not good at boundaries. But I also think men with creepy backgrounds or creepy behaviors, I don't care if they're alcoholics. I don't care if it was drugs. I don't care if it was weird sex addictions, abuse, right? Like anger, rage issues, whatever it may be. Do you ever notice? I think they cling to people who humanize them. I realized that in the Zoom call. Hey, Michelle Lynn, it makes them human, right? Because if they have someone, if they have a nice, cute, sweet wife, whatever, right? He must be a good guy. He must be a decent guy, right? She loves him. She makes him look good. I made Jeff look good. People said that all the time. And that's not like, because I'm so pretty. I'm not saying that. I actually have the lowest self-esteem about my image, right? But people said it all the time. Like, damn, man, where'd you get, is this your daughter? Like, where'd she come from? It humanized him. That's all. And I thought that was a really, unfortunately, they can tell who they can manipulate them and make them look better. Yes. And that's exactly it, Pat Jonas. This is it. Men and women and everyone who's been in an abusive relationship, who's in an abusive relationship, keep that in mind. Right? I want you to really think with that. Because it's a nasty, ugly tactic that we don't realize because I don't do that. I have my own faults, but that's not one of them. Yes, Christianese. These, I would say it's predatorial behavior. They pick out, it's almost like a serial killer, right? Like you're picking a victim. You're picking out who's going to be the smallest, who's going to be the weakest, who's going, like all of those things, right? So I feel like I have been targeted many, many times in my life by people who were not so good. And they used me to go, "Oh my god, she's so sweet. Oh, I love her. Oh, she just talks to everybody. I'm super social." Whatever it is, and they use that to make them look more, right? Their character shines. It humanizes them. And if they do have a bad past or background or like a known uh, sex addiction or something weird, it makes them look like they've maybe worked on themselves. Like maybe they're getting better. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Because it makes a lot of sense to me. I just don't know if that's coming out to you guys, but for me, I've seen it and I now see it that happened. They look for someone who takes care of them. They get something out of them. I don't think they love the people they're with. They just want what they can get. Bingo. Yes. Yes. And I mistake love for attachment. I've done it my entire life. I've been chasing what's in that black box of his, right? I want to know what my dad had in that box. So I've been fabricating it, been looking for it. I've been using sex and men to cope with that my entire life until now. I see what I did. I see the damage I did to myself, right? That I am paying for. Now I have to pick up those pieces and figure out why I do that, why I had that addiction. That's an addiction that I really had. But I think that is such a good point. Yeah, Margie Barr. I got to go back to that. They look for somebody who takes care of them, they get something out of them. I don't think they love the people they're with. Yeah, I don't think it's love. I don't think my father loved. I think that he didn't have love to give. And I think a lot of these men that I've been with also weren't loving. I saw it as love, right? But they saw what they could get out of me, right? Gertie is snoring. Did your mom have a good dad? Asking because she chose Gene. Yes, but unfortunately, I never met either one of my grandfathers. He died. My mother's father died when she was like 17. So that was sad. He died of cancer. And so um when she talks about him and her memories of him, thank you, P. Taylor. He sounds like he was a great guy, like a really good dad. He was a veteran. He took care of his kids and his wife. Yes, but he just didn't live like her whole life. Do you know anything about his past and what may have led him to treating you and your sister the way he did? I know that, hey, Gabby, my father hated his mother. Before he was a Scientologist, he got away from her when he was like 16. He left home and he went to Omaha from Kansas City, started his business, and he still has it. So he's like 77 now. And he, as long as I can remember, he would talk about how evil his mother was and how like she killed his father. He had leukemia, my dad's father. I never met him, but killed him like in the Scientology way. Like for instance, in Scientology, it's believed that I would cause cancer because I'm a declared suppressive person. And he said she was a total SP. Now, she was never in Scientology. She had nothing to do with it, but he labeled her that, right? He labeled her a suppressive person. And suppressive people cause cancer. They kill people. They do. So he always said she was super evil. She was an SP and she caused his leukemia and caused him to die. So that's what I know. I know he was like kind of a bad kid. Like he started smoking, he said at the age of 7. That's what my dad told me. I don't know if it's true, but he was hustling pool at a very young age. He was kind of a fuck up from what I know. Oh, Jen, absolutely. I'm sure it's true. I mean, I without me seeing it, I'm sure it's true though. Scientology is a really, really terrible, evil monster of an organization. But there was a point where he liked me. That's all I'm getting at. And I've been craving that. I'm craving connection lately. I want to make friends, but I'm also very hesitant because, like Jenna said, it really spoke to me in her video. I'm hesitant to make friends, relationships with anyone because I don't want it weaponized and used against me either. And let's be honest, that's exactly what my dad did to me, right? He believed what they told him about my declare that I had when I was 16, my non-interbulation declare. And if you recall, he said, "Is that true?" And I said, "Yeah, that's true, but I reported what happened with those guys. I was assaulted by two different men when I was 16, like pretty grossly assaulted. One of them like grabbed me, flipped me around, shoved his hand up my shirt and his tongue down my throat. And he was like 50. I mean, he came into my office and did that. I got in trouble for that big time in Scientology. I reported it in the church, right? Like I wrote him up. I said what happened. He scared the shit out of me. I didn't want that. I didn't welcome it. And I was a minor, but I got in huge trouble for that, right? Uh yeah, Janet, that's a great comment. You're going to find that most of what you need is already in you the more therapy you have. Therapy has helped me so much. I believe that I would be very agitated, like some of the people we've seen, right? I think I would be very balled up in my thoughts if I hadn't been going through therapy for the last several years to take this apart little by little, but also verbally process it here. It's hard for me to get super agitated and balled up, and my pot isn't bubbling over because I deal with my shit. And I'm not trying to say I'm above the rest. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I do deal with it, and it makes a massive difference to deal with it. It does. But yeah, reactive, because then you can label it, process it, and figure out why you are the way you are. That's all I'm trying to figure out is why I've made these bad choices, right? Um she can jump up now, but still taking her to the vet. I just caught up on the stream at double speed, 30 more minutes. Okay, that's good to know. I think she pulled something, Kat, just like Gert did. I really do. I think she pulled something, and I hope for that. Let us know. Have you tried listening to affirmations? I have not. Mm. No, but we've talked about that in therapy, and he says some of that shit is hard for someone like me who I tear myself down pretty hardcore. I'm better than I used to be. So he always says like it's not really realistic for you to be like I am amazing. I am this, I am that. He was like that's a little heavy. That's kind of coming at it a little heavy for you. So he always says something like do neutral affirmations. For me, he'll say like I actually wrote it in my notes. I wrote this note. You didn't grow up with positive affirmations, so doing it now feels weird. And so I wrote neutral affirmations. And then I wrote teenage years are formative years when we form relationships with ourselves. So that was my notes on that. Hey, Susie CJ, don't you believe that is why LRH spoke so terribly of therapy? He didn't want any of you to be healed. Oh my good Lord, yes. Yeah. But I also think that's why LRH spoke so terribly of the outside world in general. Like everyone is scary outside of Scientology. He wanted us in fear and following only the word of LRH and training and giving money and don't go out there though. It's terrifying out there, right? I think there's a lot of reasons that he kept us caged and trapped for sure. And that's one of them. Yes. Yeah. Doing affirmations feels weird to me too. Yeah, Lumen. So my therapist said something like instead do something like neutral affirmations. Like I don't love my body at all. I am weird. I don't like my body. I wish I saw a woman today and I was like pissed. I had to get out of there. I was like, damn it, she's a spider. Like I have a 25-inch inseam. I have corgi legs. So whenever I see a woman that has like Barbie body, I'm like, fuck that. Like, I'm out of here. Her legs like went up past my head. I was like, do you have to get like special jeans made? Like, she probably had a 35-inch inseam. It was insane. I'd never seen anything like it. And I was mad about it. I was like, I got to get out of here. I'm starting to get pissed. I felt incredibly inadequate. Hey, Lenore Gray, I don't like my body. So my therapist will say things like, you don't have to do this like you're beautiful. Right? Like, no, I'm not doing that. It's not for me. But I can do neutral stuff where I'm like, look, I don't like my body, but it did give me a child, right? Like I poop and pee like I'm supposed to. The plumbing works. Like not always. I often shit myself. But it's fairly healthy. I've got the beaties. That's not true either. I hate my boobs. What do I like? Oh, I like my skinny ankles. I have good feet. I kind of like my fingers. I have like the right hands. I don't have like weird hands. I hate that I have a beard. Okay, we're going in the back. We're going backwards here. But what I'm trying to say is maybe just stopping at, yeah, my legs work. That's perfect, Pat Jonas. My mom always says that because I'm like, you realize my legs are underdeveloped? Thanks, Pat. And I'm like, it's because you smoked with me. Like I have chihuahua legs, but a normal body. And she's always like, why don't you be glad you have legs? I'm like, let's not change the subject and avoid accountability that you smoked a pack a day when you were pregnant with me. And my legs came out this long and they never grew. Like that's a problem. I'm walking around on chihuahua legs, but I have like a regular person body. It sucks. Um, Anita says, I feel bad, Reese. I didn't mean to send you on a roller. Oh, Lord, no. Don't say that. I'm proud of how you're working through it. I love you too. Anita, first of all, no, you did the right thing. That is how I heal. I don't think you realize that. You gave me a gift by what you guys were discussing in the Zoom call. I am a verbal processor and I'm extremely social. I really, really, really like talking to people. I grew up very isolated. So, like, for me, it feels so good to socialize. So, Anita, it wasn't like I never walk away from anything like that where I'm like, I wish she hadn't have said that because now it's got me in a tizzy. Oh my God, I'm the opposite. I'm like, thank God Anita shared that because it really sent me down this path of why so it's the opposite. Please don't feel bad. Thank you, Susie Kelly. Please don't feel bad. It's quite the opposite. When people share their vulnerabilities, that's my love language, if that makes sense. I'm very like, tell me more about that because then I can kind of relate and it makes me feel human. It makes me feel normal and it makes me work through shit. I want to work through things. I'm trying to go as fast as I can because I'm 41 and I am who they told me I was, if that makes sense. I am what Scientology said I am. I am what Scientology thinks I am. I am now trying to unpack that as fast as I can and peel off each layer, going, that's not who I am. No, that's actually not who I am. We were trained attack dogs. We were pieces of veal, right? So, Anita, it's quite the opposite. Thank you for telling me those things. Thank you for sharing. I said that many times in the Zoom call. I said it to Hope Between the Dreams too. Like, thank you for your vulnerability there. Thank you for sharing. It heals me. I take something away from it. So thank you for your super chat, but please don't feel that way. Linda, thank you. Yeah, just in case. I agree. That chili is a little bit iffy still, and I'm on the fence. So thank you for replacing a sock. Oh, thank you for your super chat. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard, Gabby. My mom's legs were amputated because she never took care of her diabetes. So my brother and I call her Lieutenant Dan. It's the darkest shit I've ever heard. It's incredibly dark. And I like it. But I don't use that kind of humor as much on YouTube because people don't respond well to that. But I'm here for it. Hold on. Damn, Gabby. That's hardcore, girl. Thank you, Christy Anise. So I just wanted to say one of the ways, Anita Card and Kat and Robin, and a lot of people who shared, one of the ways that you helped me to process through that was getting this book out. And I thought, we had my mom dressed up on Halloween as Lieutenant Dan, too far, but absolutely hilarious. Unbelievable that there's another sick character in here just like me. Thank you, Gabby. I feel closer to you than I ever have. If you believe what Scientology thinks you and what your dad thinks you are, then why can't you believe now what you are, what we all think I know what you're saying. They talked about this in the Zoom call, actually. Because it's hard. It's hard for me. It makes me, I just heard in my mind, Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman saying the bad stuff is easier to believe. And I'm only 3 years out, K-Fix. So it's like, I'm getting there. I am so much better than I used to be about believing the bad stuff that Scientology said, but let's not forget, like, I've had some abusive ass men in my life that didn't have anything to do with Scientology, so there's that too, and I believe them. And so what is it going to take, Kafik, for me to stop doing that and see myself through a better filter, through a better kaleidoscope there of like a lens? What's it gonna take? Because it is getting old to hate myself, to think I'm ugly, to think I'm not any good, to think nobody's ever really gonna love me, like all of that, right? I feel that way all the time. That's why I laugh at our haters because I'm like, nobody hates me as much as I do. I got your number. Nobody hates me. Nobody will ever be as good at picking me apart as me. Um, no, Anita Card, definitely not. You are who God says you are. Never forget. That's an amazing comment right there, Shelly. Thank you for your super chat. And that is beautiful. And you're right. What would happen if you and your mom and your sister showed up to your dad's door? He would call the cops, or his wife would. I get where you're going with that, Cliffhanger. It would never work, and I've thought about it, but there would be zero communication. You have to understand, and I think a lot of you don't get this, and I would never expect you to. This is not a downfall. A suppressive person in Scientology, a declared suppressive person, which is what I am, is the most evil of evils. L. Ron Hubbard talks about suppressive people. He equates them to Hitler. Suppressive people are the most destructive. All they want is destruction and damage for planet Earth. They want to destroy everything in their paths, and they create and cause illness in the world. So if you are connected to an SP, there's a good chance you're going to get cancer. That's what they believe. So it's very black and white, and it's very there's no wiggle room to that. They're absolutes in Scientology, and that's one of them. So I am a declared suppressive person. My dad is a huge Scientologist, like huge, meaning like he's been in since like 1970-ish, and he has donated millions of dollars, and he follows the rules closely. He would never, if I knocked on his door, he would not override in his mind, but this is my daughter. No fucking way. He would probably call the police. He'd try to have me arrested. He would, if I died before my father, which I hope I don't, but if I were to pass and somehow that word got traveled to him, my dad would say something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm so glad. She was so evil. She was such an SP. She was such a detriment to society. She was the biggest degraded being I've ever known. And I'm so glad she's gone, finally." There isn't any warmth. He follows those rules, right? He's a believer 100 times over. So if he was even around me, he would think I was going to give him cancer. Hey, Style and Hair. Resport, Leah Remini and Mike Rinder both declared. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, definitely. Karen Dahl gifted a membership. Thank you, Karen. That's really nice. I mean it. I really appreciate you guys gifting memberships. Isn't that misleading and deceptive? Scientology is a company. How come they haven't been sued and shut down? Oh my God, Christy, I couldn't give you. I mean, they're a 501c3. They're tax exempt. That's the question of the decade. No one knows. I mean, they have been exposed over and over and over. People like me have used their voices, shared their stories. It's too big of an entity. There's too much control. Kind of like the Jesters, quite honestly. Like any kind of a giant corporation, right? I mean, look at big pharma, look at all these things. Like, it's just, there's too much. They're huge. We're not going to be able to go up against them. They have too much control. Kirstie Alley died of cancer, so they may believe someone gave it to her. No, probably. Well, if you get cancer, I know a lot of people in Scientology who had cancer. You are typically, because you are connected to a suppressive person. So if I get the flu in Scientology, it's no different than cancer. They're going to go, who are you connected to that's a suppressive person, that's being suppressive, that's committing suppressive acts? They may not necessarily be declared suppressive, but there are suppressive people, according to Scientologists, everywhere. L. Ron Hubbard says the total of suppressive people on planet Earth is 2.5% of whatever the total number of beings on Earth, humans, if that makes sense. Tommy hasn't posted today. I hope that means he's resting. He works so hard. I have no idea. I really don't know much about Tommy right now. He's really, really involved in his thanks, Liz, in his channel. I haven't heard from him. I have no idea. I hope he's all right. Yeah, it's such a big entity. Does Scientology believe if you are an SP and drop your body, could you come back and be an outstanding cult member in good standings? Or yeah, they do believe that you could. L. Ron Hubbard says that everybody at one point in our 76 trillion years of being alive, LRH says that everybody has been an SP at some point. Everybody. And so he often says you go through the implant station, the forgetter box when you die. So I'm an SP, right? When I die, I'm going to drop the body and I absolutely could come back into Scientology. Yeah, because I may have forgotten who I was. It's an amnesia tactic. Hey, Heather. Anyone outside of Scientology would be considered suppressive, right? Anyone outside of Scientology would be, no, Vicky, definitely not. There are certain traits. Yeah, Barbara, wait. There are certain traits to that that are very specific. Hold on. So this is the Scientology ethics book. Two types of people, 173. No, Janet Hunter. So here we go. Definitions: suppressive person. A person who suppresses other people in his vicinity. A suppressive person will goof up or vilify any effort to help anybody, and particularly knife with violence anything calculated to make human beings more powerful or more intelligent. The whole rationale of the suppressive person is built on the belief that if anyone got better, the SP would be for it, as the others could overcome him then. He is fighting a battle he once fought and never stopped fighting. He is stuck in an incident. This is L. Ron Hubbard, Christy. Present time people are mistaken by past, long gone enemies. So I was going to say this to you guys, but it was a lot to explain. Suppressive person is another name for antisocial personality. So LRH claims and says that SPs are fighting a battle from a past life. They're in a duel. They're fighting a battle from a past life. And they're stuck in an incident, like I just read from his words there. They're stuck fighting and they don't know why, but they just want to destroy everything. That's what he believes an SP is. So that means Miscavige is an SP. Well, not according to Scientology. The word suppress means to squash, to sit on, to make smaller, to refuse to let reach, to make uncertain about his reaching, to render or lessen in any way possible, by any means possible, to the harm of the individual for the fancied protection of the suppressor. They take it pretty damn seriously. But I will tell you, this is interesting. There are attributes to a suppressive person. He lists out attributes to spot a suppressive person. which is really interesting, right? So my dad would say to me a lot growing up, he'd be like, you're showing the attributes of a suppressive person. You have 7 attributes right now of an SP. Like you're painting, you're very close. You're touching on the colors of an SP is basically. So some of these attributes, he or she only speaks in very broad generalities. They say, everybody thinks, everyone knows. So that's a big training thing in Scientology. To this day, if someone's like, they said that, I'm always like, oh, fuck that. Who is they? Now, we should all be doing that, to be honest. Speaking in generalities is gross to me. I can't stand that. That's why I say a lot when I'm here. I'm like, I don't want to speak to other people's lives. I don't want to speak to other people's upbringings. I only try to stick to me. Does it happen a lot that he uses mental health diagnoses in his definitions of kinds of people? I thought mental health was bullshit in his opinion. Not so much. Christy Nicole, he uses it a lot in Dianetics, a modern science to mental health. That is where he uses that's a tough book to read. I have read Dianetics a couple times and I still have a really hard time with it. He uses a lot of diagnosis words, medical terms, shit like that. LRH says, yeah, I know. Another attribute, such a person deals mainly in bad news, critical or hostile remarks, invalidation, and general suppression, gossip, right? So that's another one. Like you want to stay away from people like that, suppressive person trait. The antisocial personality alters to worsen communication when he or she relays a message or news. Good news is stopped and only bad news, often embellished, is passed along. So that's another one. A characteristic and one of the sad things about an antisocial personality, and guys, another word for suppressive person is an antisocial, just so you know, it's the exact same thing. So I want that to be clear. Hey, Abigail, thank you for gifting those memberships, babe. That is really nice. I love it when you guys do that. Thank you, Abigail. A characteristic and one of the sad things about an antisocial personality is that it does not respond to treatment, to reform, or psychotherapy. So they can't get better. Hey, Tash. Surrounding such a personality, we find cowed or illness associates of friends who, when not driven actually insane, are yet behaving in a crippled manner in life, failing or not succeeding. They make trouble for others. So that's where the cancer part comes in. You can make them ill. The SP selects habitually the wrong target. If a tire is flat from driving over a nail, he or she curses a companion or a non-causative source. If the radio next door is too loud, he or she kicks the cat. So they wrong target. That's a thing in Scientology. You'll be like, you're wrong targeting me right now, or you're wrong targeting that person. You have the wrong target. Yeah, it was a tough book to get through, Christy Anise. Janet got a membership from Abigail. That was really kind. The SP cannot finish a cycle of action. They become surrounded with incomplete projects. So that's another cuckoo one, in my opinion. Like if my dad was around me and I had like laundry still in the dryer, he'd be like, that's the trait of a suppressive person, that you haven't finished that cycle of action. Like you haven't put the groceries away. So that's a suppressive person trait. It means you can't complete something. You leave shit undone. That's a little wild to me. They will freely confess to the most alarming crimes when forced, but will have no faintest sense of responsibility. So that's the other thing. They'll own up to like alarming shit, but there's no accountability, right? There's no remorse. The SP supports only destructive groups and rages against and attacks any constructive or betterment group. This type of personality approves only of destructive actions and fights against constructive or helpful actions. Helping others is an activity which drives them insane. And they have a bad sense of property and conceives of the idea that anyone who owns anything is a pretense made up to fool people. Nothing is ever really owned. So thank you for being a member. AFC, Liverbird, thank you. I really appreciate that, my friend. So that's the qualities, that's the characteristics, the attributes. How old was I of an SP? How old was I when I read Dianetics? I was older. The first time I read Dianetics, I was in my 20s. I was forced to read it before I had Huxley because they talk at length about pregnancy and what to expect and what happens with the child and how you can never have sex or have an orgasm when you're pregnant and why. The Enneagram, all of that. So I was forced to read Dianetics before I had him so that I had a full conceptual understanding. Hey, Jamie Castro. Correct, Sophia. So, Daft Women, I read the first chapter of Dianetics years ago and I thought I was reading someone's stroke. It's a tough one to read. It's very confusing and I think it's intentionally confusing. And if you recall, I learned of this in the Aftermath show. He wrote Dianetics and he was like majorly rejected by the medical community for that, where I think he thought he was going to be like welcomed and highly esteemed, right? Like I think he thought that was going to go over really well. And they rejected it and like did a whole article on it. And they were like, this is gobbledygook, right? When would that be considered abusive to you when you look back? Wait, then that would be considered as abusive to you, making me read Dianetics? No. If that's your question. No. Bo is dreaming. Stacy commented, scroll up. I don't have the guts or the will to read Dianetics. Oh, no orgasms. Yeah. No, you absolutely can't have an orgasm during pregnancy or it will contract the uterus and it causes an engram for the child. Oh, no, not that one. Okay. Let me scroll up more. I know he's growling in his sleep. Scientology is Hubbard's temper tantrum because the psych community didn't accept Dianetics as a new form of treating mental health issues. Yeah, absolutely. So he created Scientology and told his followers psychs are evil. Yes. Yes, I think that's true. And he was like on record saying it more than once. If you want to make money, start a religion, I think is what he said, like on record 3 different times. So I think that's how that all came about. He was rejected by the mental health community where I think he thought he was going to be like welcomed in and wow, this is amazing. He was bonkers, and Dianetics is an incredibly hard book to get through. For me, it was. I read a lot of L. Ron Hubbard's material. That one sent me, I couldn't. Joan Marie, I'm not sure what you mean. Hubbard stole from about every coercive system and took what worked and mashed it together to really maximize the damage. Yeah, he absolutely did. And I think we're still seeing that damage come apart every day, right? Like I have a hard time looking at it. I am more newly out of Scientology than a lot of the other ex-Scientology YouTubers. And I think that as time goes on, it'll get easier and easier for me. I haven't read it. Stacey, I started it, but I haven't finished. But I have a hard time talking about this stuff because it's sometimes too much at once for me. I have to like process it and I have a hard time. I kind of reject it. I go into denial and I'm like, I believed that for 38 years and that's not true. I get really, it's like, I feel like, have you ever had a relationship, like a marriage, a long-term relationship, and you find out like they're cheating or they become horrible or you knew they were horrible and you're like, I wasted all of that time. Like to me, I've done that. I'm like, I put all that energy into that. I put all of my love into that and I got screwed, right? Like maybe they were cheating, whatever. That's how I feel. And I can't unsee it. And so I have to stop. I can't go any further. I'm like, I wasted 38 fucking years believing this stuff. And I was completely wrong. And that hurts. I don't know if you can feel that. If you really try to imagine it, maybe you have your own version of that, but it hurts to, I make fun of myself. I feel like I'm a mockery, like that I went through life believing certain things that are absolutely laughable and insane to the outside world. And I'm embarrassed about it. Like that I took that so seriously. I am angry. I want that time back. People laughed at me and I defended that kind of stuff throughout the years. And I just kind of get that like, hey, Abdazzle, that relationship feeling where it's like, I loved you. I took care of you. I did all these things. I put all this time in. I was loyal and you fucked me, right? Like that's how I feel. I'm like, ooh, God, I know Shelly. I'm totally aware of that. But that's how I feel is like, I'm not ready to go through all this like everybody else does. People who can discuss Scientology around the clock, bless them. But I just can't because I get stuck in that like, I'm embarrassed that I believed that for so long. It's really embarrassing. Yes, Janet Hunter. So back to my dad, I choose to now, because I am so sentimental and I hold on to yeah, Buffy. I hold on to memories so tightly. And that's the other problem, guys, is I do this with pretty much everyone who's ever been bad for me in my life. I create an illusion. I create an illusion about it. Um, like, well, but you knew that, or well, you saw the signs, or oh, for sure, Julie, I do it all the time and it's working. I tend to do this to myself. I sell myself on thank you, Tash, on illusions so that it's not that bad. I give myself like a softer landing. So I don't actually have to see the whole truth. I just kind of sell myself the parts that I can live with, if that makes sense. So I do that with pretty much everyone that's been bad for me. And I think that's why I continue to string shit along with people, because I'm like, well, like that's what love is, or that's, everybody had a shitty father. Like I'll just try to spin it and create a different illusion, and then it's not clarity anymore. How, as a public, were you allowed to have jobs in the real working with SPs that weren't Scientologists? Wouldn't that be against the rules? There are no SPs in the real world, Anita Card, if, like, he called Hitler an SP. But the problem is, even if you have someone who is pulling SP qualities at some job, you have to do what's called a 10 August. It's a list that they run. So you have to do that pretty much if you go what's called PTS to something. So like if I got sick in Scientology, PTS means a potential trouble source, which means trying to think how I want to word this. A potential, I could read it to you. A potential trouble source means that you are sick because you are connected to a suppressive person. There's someone actively in your life and you need to locate where it's coming from so you can get better and get away from it. So I cannot tell you, I've probably had more 10 OGs than anybody, because if I got a cold, I used to get bronchitis every November. I have bad asthma, right? Like I've been more in the repair part of Scientology my whole life and the ethics part than actually climbing the bridge. So I had to have repair after repair after repair. So to answer your question, I would get sick and then I would go have this list run on me. It's called a 10 OG and it's on the meter, and the auditor asks you a bunch of questions, and it's called that because of the date that LRH wrote it, the 10th of August, whatever year. Okay, you had a 10 OG, paralyzed. If you were in Scientology, you've had a 10 OG, I guarantee you. So I would go and I would get the list run on me, and I'd be sick and I'd be sitting there like sniffling or whatever. And then what they're trying to do is get you to locate who you're connected to that's CSP. So this used to make them very angry. And every time I had a 10 OG, this used to really piss them off. The auditor would get very angry. We would narrow it down and the auditor would look directly at you on the meter and go, who was it? And with that intention, they're supposed to say it with like pure intention to the PC. The PC is the pre-clear, the person being audited. The auditor looks at you and goes, who was it? And you're supposed to magically go, oh my God, it was this person. That's what they do. Like you're supposed to realize it. And then once you realize who it was that made you sick, that's being a suppressive person, you're supposed to handle or disconnect. So you either handle the person and you go directly to him and go, hey, you're doing these things that are suppressive to me and I need you to stop, and you get it out there, right? Or you disconnect from them. You've got two options. So whenever I had a 10 OG run on me, this used to make them very angry. They'd look at me and go, who was it? And I would go, my dad. And they'd get pissed because my dad is a Scientologist. He was a wealthy, big fish, big whale in Scientology. And every time I had a 10 OG, I'd be like, my father, Gene Wally, you know him. And they'd be like, no, can't be him, right? Who else was it? Because they didn't want it to be him, because there was nothing, they weren't going to call him out on his bullshit, right? So we had to pick somebody else every time. But every time they'd go, "Who was it?" And I'd go, "My dad." And they'd be like, "Mm-mm, mm-mm, no, it wasn't. Keep searching, girl. Keep looking. Anybody but him. Anybody but him." So if you're connected to someone, that's, hey, Maisie, that's how they deal with it. You have to handle whatever is going on, or you have to disconnect from them. Did I get in trouble a lot? I don't think you stayed quiet. No, I was in trouble all the time, Cliff Ann. I have scrubbed more toilets and baseboards and done more ethics programs than, I don't want to say that. A lot of people get in trouble. I'm not trying to sound like I win the award for that. But yes, I got in trouble pretty much my entire Scientology history. And that's why I think Aaron tried to say, like, she never did anything. She never climbed the bridge. She never made it. He's right. Because what would happen was my father would pay for things and buy me like big packages, like auditing or training packages. And then I would get in trouble. And then we would have to break up those packages to use on ethics programs or repair programs because I'd get sick or something. So eventually my dad stopped paying for things because he would get really pissed that he bought me this training program, this training whole thing to become an auditor, right? He wanted me to be an auditor. And I would get in trouble. And then I'd have to use my money on account for being in trouble. And he would get really pissed. Did you ever say no to punishment? What would happen? Of course not. You can't do that, Cliff Ann. You can't really say no in Scientology. So no, I did it. I did the punishment. I did the time for the crimes that I did. And sometimes that would take years. I mean, I was in trouble for years. I would say my longest stint of lower conditions, like doing an amends project, making up the damage, was like 9 months to a year. I was scrubbing toilets. They literally walk over you. They treat you like you're not a human. You don't get to eat with everybody else. You don't talk to them. You are an outside member of the group until you make up the damage and you get permission to re-enter the group. That's what you have to do to come back in when you get in trouble. You literally draw a line down a sheet of paper and you put re-enter, disapproved, and they sign yes or they sign no. And if they sign no, which has happened to me a million times, you have to go scrub more toilets. They'll be like, I'm not ready for you to re-enter our group after what you did. So they shame you. And that's most of my Scientology was that. Being in trouble, having to word clear references, I was a little bit too silly, probably. I probably didn't take it seriously enough. And I did question sometimes. Sometimes I would be like, Jamie, I was in for 38 years. I was born in, though. I would sometimes question things. I'd be like, why is that, though? That doesn't make any sense to me. And that is a big no-no, too. So every once in a while, I would get close to the line. I always knew how far I could go without getting in real trouble. Real trouble would include things like what's called a court of ethics or a ComEv, which stands for Committee of Evidence, where they get like a group together to decide your fate, like going to court. So I have had a couple of court of ethics on me. I've had declares as far as like I had the non-interpolation order declare, but I never had a ComEv. I've been a part of many ComEvs, but I never had my own ComEv. But I had many courts of ethics on me. I danced on the line. I would get in trouble. Yeah, Sophia. Thank you, Paula McDonald. How dare you have a grown-ass man shove his tongue down your throat? Back to the toilets. I got in big trouble for that. When I was 16 and that guy was groping all over me, I got in big trouble for that. So I read my birth story, what my dad said. And I'm struggling with, I think, just relationships, men, just the feeling of that in my life. It's heavy. It weighs on me a lot. It is Anita Card. They get away with it because they're their own judge, jury, and executioner. You don't call the police in Scientology. It's not like any of this stuff is reported. So I think that's how they get away with it. It's all happening behind closed doors. You see how secretive they are. You cannot find, it's like the jesters. Like you're not finding much on abuses and all the shit that's going on behind the scenes. That's illegal. That's abusive as shit, having to do with children, all of that. You didn't know, you wouldn't know. A lot of the problems we have as adults stem from being shamed as children. Oh boy, is that true for me? Yes. Yes, absolutely. So my dad says here, and I just want to read this because it's really sweet. And I'm going to choose to cling to when I feel needy for my father in my life, which I'll never get. I'm going to cling to these words, right? I don't have much else from my dad. And he says here, you were born 40 minutes later, which goes along with the confront you have on life so far. So when you say you have the confront, I'm sure you can put that together, but Scientologists say that a lot. Like, wow, you have high confront. You have really high confront. Or they'll be like, yeah, he doesn't have very high confront on that. His wife wears the pants. He doesn't have very high confront, right? What that just means is like willingness to confront and deal with things. So he wrote here, you were born 40 minutes later, which goes along with the confront you have on life so far. There was very little trouble with the delivery except for getting a bit wheezy after it was over. I still say the program of baby deliveries is overrated. That is so something a Scientologist would say. That's how you would word that as a Scientologist. The program of baby deliveries is overrated. Who says that in the real world? Everything's a program in Scientology. Everything's a game. Like life is a game. It's a program. It's just like cattle. We're just going through things, right? And then he says, I have to say at this point, in as impartial of a way as I can, you have up to now been a daddy's girl. I hope for it to always be that way. I've been taking you with me everywhere I can. Get by with it. When I am at home, I have a saying that I'm in jail. You pretty much have to be with me when I'm in your sights. You come up to me when I'm at my desk that is located in the dining room, and you get up on my lap and you pull the middle drawer out and you play with all the little objects. You always want to go with me when I'm leaving and you see me leave. At this point, I must say you are a daddy's girl. So I like that. And yeah, these are the pieces to keep. And so that's what I'm going to cling to when I want to remember my dad or how he thinks of me. Of course, he doesn't think of me that way now. How long has your dad been married? This time, could his wife have anything to do with the way he treated you? No. His former wife, who died of breast cancer, who is OT8, she had more to do with it. And hey, Just Joan. It's okay, Just Joan. We're oh my God, we've been talking for 2 hours. It is, Holly. She hated me and she really kept him apart from me according to him. She was OT8 and a know-it-all, and she was a raging bitch. She really was. But she died of breast cancer. And I'll never forget the day she died. My dad was at the church in Kansas City, right? We weren't having much of a conversation, but Brenda, my mother-in-law, was the supervisor on course, and he was getting ready to go on course. And my dad literally went like this, and he went, wow, that's really too bad. Thanks for letting me know. Bye. And Brenda goes, Gene, is everything okay? And he goes, my ex-wife, Kathy, just died. She had breast cancer. Hey, Air Supply. And she goes, oh my God, do you need to get a loss of a person assist? Are you all right? And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, she'll be all right. She's a good girl. Like no feeling, no emotion. So she dies and he blames everything on her, which who knows if that's true, our relationship. And Vicky, and he marries this next woman who's never had children. Hey, SoCal Joy. And she is, I almost want to say she's worse. She's really, really evil. I've met her many times. She's pretty nasty. She's clever at this, at being evil and convincing people of things. And it's sad because, hey, a voice down under, she is now in charge of my dad, right? She's like 25 years younger than him. And if he really does have dementia or Alzheimer's, that makes me very sad. That makes me very sad because I believe 100 times over she was after my father's money. My dad makes really, really good money. And he met her at Flag. She was new to Scientology and she was training and had no money. And she was I want to say she was a waitress at Denny's and she was worked as a maid in a hotel. And he met her. And within a few months, she had like 3 Gucci bags, a Prada bag. Her nails were like shining like the top of the Chrysler building. Her hair was all like, it was like a before and after shoot. It was like night and day. I couldn't believe it. She has been well kept and sits up there high in her tower using my father for that. Like some women tend to do that. Love you, Linda. And that's she really, really hates his children. And she has gotten her family up the bridge in Scientology because of my dad. So he's paid for like her nieces and all of that to go up the bridge, but she just does not want him to have anything to do with his children. Now, he didn't have anything to do with me when he was with her anyway. I don't blame her, but she certainly hasn't helped the situation. She's now OT8. Yeah, she hitched her wagon real quick to that shit. I always get grossed out when people do that. I mean, good for you if you come into something wealthy. I prefer to see women go into wealth because they did it themselves. Like I always that's my biggest goal in life is to be self-made. I want to make something out of myself. I want to be an example to my son. I feel like it's not that hard to try to hitch your wagon to somebody else, but it never really tends to work out the way I see that. And I just really like knowing, like even now, I may live in a trailer, but I pay my own bills. And it's such a refreshing feeling to know there is no man in my life who's paying for anything. Nobody, I'm not for sale. Like nobody's buying me to do anything. It feels just, there's something to it because I've always had men paying for things. Like Doug paid for things, right? Jeff paid for things. And so it feels good when you do it on your own. But, good for her, whatever. Do you know? Thanks, Liz. I guess I don't understand this question. Do you know they know that? But how do they know that if they do not see that kind of doctor? How do they know what? I guess I don't understand the question. Iwa, if you could clarify that. This was kind of a weird stream. I had no idea we were already at 2 hours. I've just been really focused on what I've been talking about. He wanted the trophy wife. Yeah. Thank you, Cliff Ann. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, how do I know that? I don't know it for sure, but I have 3 separate people who have told me that is a confirmed thing. One of them saw him one-on-one. A person in our family saw him, ran into him and said, "Oh my God, hey, Gene." And he didn't know the person. He couldn't identify the person. And his wife was there and she said he has Alzheimer's. And so she told this person that. Also, they have posted pictures of him on social media and he's not driving. He's like sitting in a car with his hands in his lap and he looks really checked out and she's driving. He's always been the driver. So it looks like he's not driving. Yeah, I do, Shelly. Thank you. Abigail, closing, because we are his children. God has sent the spirit of his son into our hearts. That's beautiful. Prompting us to call out, Abba, Father, since you are his child, God has made you his heir. New Testament, what is Abba? Does that mean father in like a different language? Thank you for that super chat. And thank you for the kind scripture, Abigail. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know who would have diagnosed his dementia. I could not. I can't speak to that. And I'll never be able to. Okay, Buffy, thank you. Hey, Karma Charms Kittens. Does Scientology expect couples to have traditional roles? Breadwinner as the husband? No, absolutely not. They don't expect that. Not at all. They just want you to make money to pay them. I love you, West Coast. Thank you, Fancy Nancy. That's really kind. Thank you for the super chats, guys. Okay, Abba means daddy or father. Okay, I kind of put that together, but thank you for confirming it, guys. So The other sad thing is that if he really does have dementia or Alzheimer's, I don't know. I don't know what his diagnosis is, but he is being poorly treated. Like, you've seen it, I'm sure, on like Tori talked about the protests. Um, the way the elderly are treated in Scientology is disgraceful. It's horrific. They are very, very poorly treated, and it's sad. And he's not getting, love you, Pepper Jelly. He's not getting the care he needs. I promise you that. He is absolutely not going, they're going to pretend it doesn't exist. It's quite sad. Yeah, they're a meal ticket. Yeah, they people. I mean, people rot to death of cancer in Scientology because they won't go see a doctor. You've seen that, right? Like, we know that with Kelly Preston, famous people. But I know, yes, like Mike Brown's mom. I know, love you too, Buffy. That personally, I was in Scientology 38 years. I know many, many, many people who have died of cancer, or like me, I got diabetes. They didn't want me going to a doctor. I wasn't diagnosed for years. I had symptoms up the wazoo. I was sick. I was dizzy. And then finally, I was able to go to a doctor, but they really, really frown upon that. And then if you're going to have cancer, forget about it. They don't want you to get treatment. Now, you can. Like, I know an OT8 that's alive today because she had breast cancer and she got treated. So it does happen, guys, but it's pretty damn rare. Must ask, what is spam chat? I'm not really sure. Jen, sending love. I'll watch uninterrupted on replay. Thank you, Jen. I'm really glad that I got to know you the other day. Thank you for your super chat. It was really nice. Yeah, I'm always shocked how they get away with the abuse. It's not shocking to me because it's also, hey, Franklin MC. It's all, hey, C. McCarthy. It's so behind closed doors. It's so secretive, guys. It's so secretive. You'll just never see it. I don't know how else to put that. It's like the Jesters. They're kind of similar there. They get away with shit because it's all going on in that organization and they have a lot of money and they just hide shit. Just a little something because I love you and Hux. That is so nice. And that's not a little something, Joanne Holly. That's a big something. Thank you for that. That helps us a lot. You have no effing idea, Joanne. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who supports us that way. Hit the like button, guys. That helps. Hit subscribe. Hit the hype button. Hey, reflections when the stream is over. But super chats, you being a member, you have no idea how much that helps me and Huxley. It's very kind, and I'm grateful for it every day. I just want you guys to know that. I never want you to feel pressure to do it. But so many people say to me, I give when I want to. It's totally up to me. It's my choice. And I find that very kind. And I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I'm always still blown away. Thank you for doing it. It's very, very much appreciated. Hux and I are very grateful. We talk about it a lot, actually. Yeah, it's pretty. They're just so evil. Tell me real quick. Put a 1 in the chat. Hey, Big Z. Put a 1 in the chat if Scientology stuff like this is interesting to you. I don't speak about current Scientology. I speak about my own life, my own past, and I don't ever get a read on this. Like, do people want to hear more about it? I kind of feel like no, but then I get people who are like, wow, I'm glad we talked about this. I just don't, I never can feel a temperature check on it. Okay. No, Jamie Castro, no. So you guys do enjoy it. I would like to do some kind of like a Scientology Q&A because I love answering your questions. Again, it prompts me to think and it kicks me into like where my mind starts doing this and I start remembering things I might have forgotten about. There's so many stories. I'm like, I haven't thought of that. I haven't told you guys that. There's tons of stuff. There's 38 years worth of stuff. Thank you, Justin Joan. That's really nice. So maybe we can do a little bit more. I talk about it and then I don't end up doing it. I want to hear about your experience, but only if you're willing to share. I love sharing. I can't, that's the only thing I can do, Big Z. I don't report on it like some other channels do, which I'm glad they do, but I don't want to do the new modern shit that's happening. I have enough to talk about, and it helps me to heal and grow when I talk about my own experiences. So why don't we plan on doing more of that, because it really does help me. I guarantee you I'm going to feel better when I end the stream and go to bed tonight. Just like, I'm glad that we talked about that. I'm glad that we talked about my dad. Thank you, Margie. And I will cling to that book, when I feel the sadness, and read his words, because those were really kind at one time. Yeah. Thank you, Pat Jonas. So, guys, you're very validating. I love you. I thank the new people for being here. I just thank everyone who, I say this all the time, but it truly is my love language. Is this sitting here for over 2 hours with around 250 people is a dream come true for me, because I feel so validated. I feel like, just sit here and process with this many people, and you guys listen, and you're so attentive, and you engage. Uh, that's heaven for me. It really is. I appreciate you so much. I don't think you realize it, but thank you. Please hit subscribe. Sometimes you can get unsubscribed on YouTube. It does happen. And hit the like button. And I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow afternoon. And thank you again for the super chats tonight. I mean that. Thank you for the memberships, the gifted memberships. Thanks, Tampa A. Love you too, Kestrel. So, guys, thank you for being here and working through that. I love that, Abigail. Thank you for doing it. All right, everybody, mods, thank you for what you do. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And here comes Fred, guys.